Good afternoon. It's Charlotte Pierce. I'm the producer of Ready Row USA. We are.
I can barely hear.
I'm going to ask my guests to mute their microphones until I finish this because we have a lot of people to introduce to you. Ready Row USA is a broadcast of the Rowing Chat Network. We are one of the 4 or 5 podcasts in the network, along with Faster Masters and the Coxswain podcast with Whitney Preston, I think. We have here are the 4 podcasts, and we have wonderful show to bring you today. The cast of A Most Beautiful Thing, the new documentary that is going the rounds. A lot of rowing people know about it, and now a lot of everybody has been on reviewed on a Wall Street Journal, LA Times, NPR. These guys are really setting an example for the next generation of rowers, and I'm really excited to talk to them. Mona Granucci will be your host, and we are going to now turn over to the podcast to Charlotte Copp, and she'll read a couple of news bits.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening if you're on the East Coast, good afternoon if you're on the West Coast, like I am. I'm Charlotte Copp from Station L Rowing Club in Portland, Oregon. This week, the NCAA has put out new recommendations and guidelines and restrictions for college athletes, which is making it more healthy to participate in sport in the college, but also adds some complications for smaller schools. The U.S. Olympic rower Emily Reagan is back into training for the Tokyo Olympics next year after she has recovered from the coronavirus. Next, we have the Head of the Charles 2020 is going to be a global remote event, so you can do it on your home course. So everyone around the world will have more access to that. And last, Anita de France is the first vice president of the International Olympic Committee 40 years after the Moscow boycott. So it's great to have a strong woman in the International Olympic Committee. Okay, next, Mona. Let's hear it.
Thank you, Charlotte. And I just wanted to introduce Charlotte Copp because she has a wonderful name, but she's also our intern, and she does our social media. She's really an asset to the podcast. So thank you very much for.
Thank you. Good to be here. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Okay, so we will introduce Mona Granucci and the guys from the cast of A Most Beautiful Thing, one of my favorite movies of all time.
So I've been unmuted. So it's really great to be here with you guys. I'm super excited about this. As you may not know, but I did read the book and also was able to watch the documentary last week. And I really thought that I was really inspired. I rode around the same time you guys did. I rode in college, and I hear the baby's getting fed. I really did appreciate sort of the story. I came from South Memphis, and we didn't have rowing. It wasn't something that was available to us. And I thought that this was a really fantastic program that Ken was able to create and introduce to you. Oh, Ken, and you were able to join. So nice to see you. So I did actually have a question for you to get started. Why did you think it was important to introduce rowing to Manly? You there? Can you hear me?
You can.
Yeah, I'll mute.
What's up, guys?
Hi. I wanted to talk to you and ask why you thought this program was important to create, and why did you think it was important to introduce rowing to Manly?
Can you guys hear me?
We
Yeah.
can.
Yep. I had a little phone problem, so I had to go into my car to charge my phone.
Understood.
She asked you a question, Ken. Yeah.
I didn't ask about your phone.
I seen it. He just came unmuted though. It shows the
He's
button.
unmuted. All right, so you can ask him again, Mona. Sorry.
All right. So why did you think it was important to introduce rowing to Manly?
Ken,
Chad, can you hear her? I can't.
All right.
Ken, Ken, she said, why do you think it was important to introduce rowing to Manly?
I think it's a sport that, obviously are 99% a white person sport. And I thought that a family could really benefit from being introduced to that sport. Basketball and some other sports kind of dominated. And I don't know, basketball and also a pathway to college, a different kind of world. And, talk to Arshay and Malcolm and Alvin and Preston and some of the guys. It wasn't.
Ken, we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you. So if you get to a better spot for reception or something,
Okay.
you're going to hear. Okay.
Okay. So I'll change up the next question a little bit just so anyone can answer. But I will say that, when I rowed in college, my coach always said there's no professional rowing. And I thought it was great that this entrepreneurship was built into the program. And it seemed like it almost had equal importance. Why was it, and why do you feel like it was important to incorporate this into the rowing program at Manly?
Who are you asking?
Anyone who wants to answer, you can raise your hand or.
You got the next generation.
Yeah, I think just entrepreneurship is, in our neighborhood, a lot of folks work for people, right? And I think everyone wanted to start their own business. We always wanted to figure out how can we make money. People didn't join teams because they had to work. They wanted to know how to make. They wanted to make money, And
right.
For some people, the option was to go out and sell drugs. So Ken deciding to say it's an entrepreneurship program and not just academic support was amazing. Because what entrepreneurship teaches you is the lessons that last for a long time. All these guys own their business now because they always wanted to. They just needed the first step on how to do that. And that was that was important. So when you're in those classes, you learn about the market. You learn how to save money, how to shake a hand, how to network, understand what resources that are needed in that community and how to go get it and create it for your community. So entrepreneurship dives deep into the community work. And so I thought that's why that was super important.
Okay, that was great. Thank you. So tell us about the brotherhood or the fraternity that was created by this shared experience.
No.
Charlotte, can you unmute Malcolm?
Hey, unmute. Tell me to unmute his mic.
I can't because he muted himself. So
Unmute Malcolm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Ken. We can hear you now.
Hey guys.
Malcolm, unmute. All right.
Unmute.
Preston, you want to talk about the brotherhood, Preston? So Malcolm figure out how to unmute.
Yeah, sure. I got it. The brotherhood between all was developed during actually before and during our experience with the crew team, man. Like I spoke about it earlier, we hung out a lot, spent a lot of time on and off the boat. So, it was more so like you said, a brotherhood, a family instead of just being friends.
Mm-hmm.
We all developed close personal bonds amongst each other. And then, the same as we was inside the boat, we all developed a bond that was really tight and connected really well.
Yeah. And just to add to that, I think too, just we all in the same boat when it comes to just being unfamiliar with the sport, right? So we all were open. We came with a sense of openness, and when we was pushed out into water, we had to be tough at school. So for some of us, it was the first time we saw fear in each other, right? Mm-hmm. And then survival mode kick in when fear is there, right? And it tells you to get back to this dock safely, we have to pull together. right? And that was the first time we really was on the same page, is understand that we got to get back to the dock safely. And from there, a lot of other lessons are learned, right? To learning to follow each other, learning to trust, learning to listen, right, to each other, and developing that chemistry in the boat, then outside of the boat, to move forward.
Okay. So what did you learn about yourself in this program? And anyone can answer this.
You too, Ken.
You too, Ken.
Oh, you want to talk about the brotherhood?
No. What did you learn about yourself starting this program?
Wow. Where do I begin? I learned that, like, you can't take people trusting you for granted. When I started working with Arshay and the other guys on the team, it took a lot for them to trust me, and I learned that you had to go into a situation that was unfamiliar to you with a lot more humility than I was used to going into situations. I learned a whole new way of looking at the world, because as a white person, as a white middle class person growing up in suburban America, it was a different, lot of different assumptions about how I grew up. And then when I started working with closely in the North Lawndale community with teenagers especially, I learned a lot about how they view the world, and how Arshay and his friends and the other kids in the entrepreneurship program viewed what their life was going to look like and the opportunities they had in front of them. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the world and about different communities people grow up in.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think I was just learned a lot is just like how to just be patient, right? And again, trust, right? And not judge. I came with a lot of judgment, right? Who Alvin is, who Malcolm is, right? And so I think getting to know these guys helped me not to judge, to walk a mile in their shoes as well. And so, and so just like how to be patient, judge, and overcoming fear is the biggest thing, right? Like getting over that fear of the water, the fear of travel, the fear of hanging out with people I don't normally hang out with. I found hope in a future on the other side of that fear, and a brotherhood on the other side of that fear. And sometimes, people didn't come back because of that fear. They didn't give it a second chance. And so when you can stick it out and fight through that fear, right, and step out on faith, on the other side is great things waiting for you.
I think we have Malcolm back.
Malcolm, what did you learn about yourself in the program?
Oh, wow. I learned that, how to trust people. I definitely learned that life just didn't consist of me being on the west side of Chicago and, dealing with the issues that I dealt with growing up. So, like in the documentary, they talked about my father and me growing up in a, somewhat of a, I don't want to say racist. I don't think my father was like racist. He was definitely, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mean? No, I'm just kidding.
He was a tough guy.
Kind of sort of, man.
He was a fierce, proud black man.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I learned that all white people wasn't mean. I was taught that at home every day. Woke up to if they don't look like you, they not you. They gonna be mean to you. Look out for your own. But I got around Ken. I got around a lot of the other guys, and I learned that these guys were my brothers just as well as my brothers at home. They definitely taught me more than my brothers at home. So I learned a lot from just being around people that I wasn't used to being around.
What about you, Preston?
Yeah, definitely same thing. I learned a lot being in the program. Like they just said, trust and being able to push through. Rowan and this whole experience just taught me like being able to stay focused and focus in on what the task at hand. Pretty much I can accomplish anything. These guys taught me a lot. Ken taught me a lot. It's just about trust and being able to stay focused to see everything through.
Thank you.
Preston, are you the one who has the the hair business.
Barbershop. Yeah.
Hair business.
Yeah.
Is that what they call them now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was like
A salon.
lavish cuts or something, right?
Yeah, lavish cuts.
Lavish cuts.
I love it. I follow you on
licensed barber.
Instagram.
Yes.
Very nice.
She was gonna ask you, can you cut Ken's hair?
For sure.
That fro. Let's see that fro over there.
Give him a mohawk.
My hair was so
Right.
long before I got a cut.
Yeah, your hair getting real long, Ken.
To me, man.
It's a good look.
All right. I haven't heard from Alvin. What did you learn about yourself?
Alvin.
Alvin. She asked you, what did you learn about yourself in a rowing program?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Oh, take the headphones off. Oh, the headphones.
Yeah, you can take the headphones off.
We
He
can't
said,
hear
yeah,
us.
we can't hear him though.
We can't hear
we can't hear
him,
you.
but he might be going through his Apple whatever AirPods or whatever. I don't know.
Those aren't AirPods.
No,
Or maybe they are.
I wouldn't know.
I don't either.
So
he
Alvin,
He
I'll
might
check
need to do like me and Malcolm did, log out and log back in, because I couldn't hear it first.
Yeah.
I see Malcolm logged out and logged back in, and he could hear.
yeah. The other thing you can do is go to the little gear at the bottom, and you might have to choose a different microphone.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we move on and we'll check back with you, okay?
Okay. So moving from the 90s to the present, or at least within the last couple of years, I noticed that you, Arshay, in the film, you said something to the effect when you were talking about the Chicago police and rowing with them, that you would change minds one at a time. I could tell you this was, or something to that effect, you can't be influential if you're not changing people's hearts and minds. Tell me a little bit about that, because your spirit and enthusiasm and willingness to do this is pretty powerful, and sometimes you wonder if one at a time is enough. Obviously, I think we'll probably see more about this now that we're in a national movement, but I wanted to hear from you about what that means to you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the relationship there's no relationship, right? It's a lot of mistreatment, neglect in the community, and and also the community has a lot of things that need to be fixed. That's a result of redlining and Jim Crow laws, right? And for me, I'm that person that at the end of the day, when we wake up tomorrow morning, although this is movement, the immediate response is that our kids still live in a neighborhood, our guys still live in a neighborhood. Anybody we can start a relationship with to get them to understand where we come from right away, let's do it, right? Mm-hmm. And we was in a unique position, as a teacher, you forget some of your students, but as a student, you never forget your teacher. So we had an opportunity to be the teacher, mm-hmm. right? And we not only rode with them, but we talked about the lessons that we learned outside of the boat, right? Teamwork, trust, understanding. And the whole goal was really to get them to understand that it takes a village to raise a child, and that needs to be, and they need to play their part, right? And that's to serve and that's to protect. And mm-hmm. and to do that, you have to know the people in your community. Whenever when it comes to like Breonna Taylor or Elijah McClain, when an unarmed Black American is murdered by a cop, everyone would say their names. And I thought to myself a year ago when I decided to invite them out to row, it's like, what if they knew our names, right? What if you know our names? And so that's why I invited them out, and we rowed together. We took them to the same water that where we started and where we didn't get along at first, and they heard our stories, and they walked them out in our shoes. And I said in the film that it doesn't change the system. It's going to take a long time to change that system, but to start a conversation about who we are and who our kids are, and what we do and how we contribute to our community was important to let them know, because who knows where they will hit, who else they're going to hear from. And so I thought it was important that they hear from us.
I just thought that one of the most powerful scenes in the movie for me was when you were working with your own kids. You know, it was really moving.
Yeah, and they were there to watch that, and that was so important that they saw these guys working with their kids and how the kids were so in tune with their dads and the importance of fatherhood and that relationship, and those things are just a small fraction of what's happening on the West Side that the media don't show, and it was important to give them that experience.
Yeah, really magical connection. Yeah, it's great.
So I don't know if anyone else wants to speak, but the next question I have is, how does the film fit into where we are right now as a nation? We kind of went into that a little bit, but I'd like to hear anyone else's perspective as to where we are now.
I know Mary quoted on it before. I had said it, like, in a time of need, it's a much needed film right now. We're going through a lot in today's society, man. And the film is something that's like inspirational, motivational, educational, and it's something everybody can relate to, whether white, black, regardless of whatever race or creed you are. It's something that you can be familiar with, something that you can jump on board with and be proud to say, hey, I'm a part of this, or I'm proud to even know people that's a part of this project.
Anyone else?
Kenny?
I think we have Malcolm back.
Ken's
Alvin,
I'm sorry.
Arshay, what was the question?
How does what's happening in the world today in our nation fit into the film?
And it couldn't be more relevant. I mean, it's perfect. You know, it's been incredibly frustrating for me for 20 years, for kind of worlds, and having friends just not really open their eyes to the reality. But our African brothers on the west side of Chicago and other America, what their experience is like, and how it really is different. And like hear people say, everyone has the same opportunity, bootstraps, 20 years, and I've had a difficult time, people that the white experience is different than the black experience, and white privilege is real, and people don't really accept that. And I think
we are having a little trouble hearing you, Ken, again. So I'm sorry, we're getting about 50% of what you're saying, but we have a question. Are any of your kids going to row?
That's one of my questions too.
Yeah.
Did you inspire any rowers, little rowers?
Yeah, actually, my daughter's very interested. When we was in the tanks, the coaches, they actually said that she had a very good technique. She was kind of a natural. So the CTC program offered her a summer program where she can come to the facility and work out.
Nice.
And they would do the same thing they did with us, kind of train them in rowing and help them prepare to try to be filling out for college applications and maybe go to a school to actually row.
How old is she?
She just turned 16. My daughter's very interested.
Very cool.
Yeah, so is my son. He's a basketball player. He played for an AAU basketball team on the west side of Chicago. But I've definitely incorporated rowing into our workout. So whenever me and him go out and work out, it's mostly rowing, erging, squats, jogging, some of the same things that we did, growing up in Manly. So I'm hoping that he pick up the sport of rowing. Right now, he's kind of infatuated with basketball, but he definitely he loves the sport. He watching me, row, and he, figure one day he'll be, doing the same thing.
What do they think about all this? Your kids think about all the hoopla about the movie?
Sasha don't care right now. She's 9 months.
But a 16-year-old's gonna have an opinion.
Hey, Alvin, how Micaiah feel about the film?
Man, she really loved the film. She actually sent it to she emailed it to the trailer and everything to a few of her teachers, a bunch of her friends. She's trying to get everybody on board to watch it. She's really interested in rowing too. she begged me so many times to take it to over there, but I couldn't because I was working a lot. So we couldn't get it right. But hopefully this is her senior year, so hopefully everything can get back to somewhat normal where she can go and, work out, get on the water, and hopefully roll through college.
Cool.
That'd be great. I would have loved some company. Let's see the next question. So one of the next things I said is there's really nothing more unifying when you're in a boat, when you're all in unison, you hear only the oarlocks and the water and you're breathing. What was it like when you found that rhythm with the members of the Chicago Police Department, that moment? I know it didn't happen quickly.
Like, was it really as awkward as it looked?
I have to say that, they didn't show up in a lot. We tried to get them to show up in a lot of practices, man. It was hard getting those guys together.
They didn't show up.
No, they didn't show up.
they was there physically.
Hey, so they made it look a lot easier than it was in the movie, than it was to actually work with those guys. I mean, but to be honest, a lot of those guys had never been on the water before, had never rowed at all. So I mean, to get them in there, to get them in the water in the boat with us, it actually came out pretty good. They caught on pretty quick when they were there, and like you said, to be able to race with them during the film for the filming, it actually was pretty cool. It was something, like you said, inspiring, and just to come together, because it's something that we don't do in Chicago. Yeah. We call them 12 in Chicago. Black people and 12 don't get along that well. So it's like to be able to put us all in one boat coherently and working together, it was pretty nice. It was a good experience.
I also have to credit Mike Tatey for getting us moving in our first experience. In the Olympic coach, he came in and he really wrote, just worked his magic and getting us to move together the first time in an 8. It was just he great coach and made it just really simplify things for them to get us moving and building that connection.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being frank about that. So what was, I think you kind of answered the second part of the question. One of, we already talked about that. The next generation of Black rowers. How are we going to get more people in our communities interested in the sport of rowing? I used to be the recruiter for my coach. And I was often challenged by trying to recruit people from the admission line. And it was a club sport at my college, and I recruited one guy just because he was big and tall, and he ended up getting gold in the Olympics. But for the most part, it was really hard for me to get our Black and brown colleagues to get out there on the water.
We're going to be more hands-on now. So I think, with us, once they see our story, once they see the film, I think people will want to give it a shot.
Yeah.
They see our backgrounds. We come from different gangs, different neighborhoods, and we were able to come together. And now we love each other, as if we had the same mother and father,
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna help bring more color to the rowing.
Sounds pretty good to me.
I agree. Hey, I got a question. At the bottom of the screen, I'm seeing like an inbox and questions are popping up. Are we supposed to answer that? How does that work?
No, it's that's kind of like a private chat, but
okay.
The questions are coming in from Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So like I see this one, Nancy Mack. She's actually a friend of mine. She's posted this on the Facebook page. So
okay.
But Charlotte Copp had a question that she did put in the private chat. Have you seen your children become empowered or change with rowing?
I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you want to? Mm-hmm.
I guess I can chime in. Like I said, my daughter definitely she has a new outlook for the sport. She wasn't too aware of it when I was doing it. So to be able to be there filming and actually experience a little bit of the rowing. She's definitely changed her mindset and the way she sees and think and views things, and she definitely wants to be a part of the new rowing experience.
I'm all about it. Ooh, what's that sound?
I don't know, but it got me.
All right. So tell us about your current work and your role in the community.
Oh, yeah, got it.
You wanna go?
I got it.
Okay. You go first.
We talked about it earlier. So actually, right now I've teamed up with my church, New Beginnings Church, Pastor Corey Brooks. So every year we do a barber give back where me and a couple of my colleagues that I work with in the shop, we all go back and volunteer, and we cut all the children's hair in the community to get ready to go back to school. We also give out school supplies, book bags. They have a big barbecue. All the kids come out, the families come out. It's just a big celebration every year.
Very cool. And you, is it Alvin? Or I'm sorry, who was? Yeah, Alvin.
Well, yes, I have a moving company, and I go back. You know, I reach out to the young guys around the neighborhood, and anyone who want to, you know, come work, make some money on the weekend or through the week or whatever. I pretty much, you know, I give them a job. So, I mean, so many of them worked for me before. I get so many calls, but I don't have enough work, and it's a labor only. Right now, I just provide labor only services, so I don't have a truck. But once I'm able to get my truck and everything like that, then I can provide more jobs for the guys who want to work, because it's a ton of guys who want to work, but they, you know, they're caught up in the street. They're caught up in our neighborhood, the streets life. So when I'm able to bring those guys in, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, these guys are smart. These guys are smart, and they don't really want the streets. They just feel like it's nothing else
available. Right.
It was so cool when you said, you know, I never saw myself as someone who would be hiring people, you know, in charge of a company, you know.
Why is Arshay laughing?
And there you are.
Because those were Malcolm's words.
I'm sorry. I was Malcolm.
Now it all comes out.
But you know, we definitely gotta give big thanks to Arshay, because he brought life back to this story. You know, Ken, you know, he started it, and it was just, we're friends for life. We didn't think nothing else of it, but Arshay brought the story back to life, and give big ups to him, big ups to Ken and Jessica and Victor. You know, they really worked us, and Mark, he really worked us to, you know, to get us in shape to be able to compete. So big ups to those guys.
Do you plan on competing again?
I'm ready. The guys know I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because I'm volunteering to be in your boat if you want to do head of the town next year.
Hey,
I'll row with you.
Y'all got to catch me for the next 2 years, man. I'm getting too old. After 40, I think I'm done.
Hey, Preston,
man, we stay young on the erg machine. I'm still using now, so
I started 8 years ago, and I'm 64 now. So,
and you still going strong?
Yeah, sculling.
I look motivation right there. There you go.
I had a rowing coach that was in his 80s, so I think you can.
Yeah, I row with women that are in their 80s and 70s.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We do. It's really great.
Put me in that boat. Hey, put me in that boat.
They're working fast. Those are fast old ladies. Fast
old ladies. I bet they are.
So, the last question I had for you was to tell me a little bit about the Most Beautiful Thing Fund. I was reading about it from the Pocock Foundation and what that fund aims to achieve and how our listeners and folks could contribute.
Yeah, it's a fund that, with the same idea of starting a program like Ken did over 20 years ago, like where the cities, the neighborhoods that can benefit from rowing. That's mostly everywhere in especially every inner city in our country. And you know, I think one of the important parts of the film to me is when Pooh said that when they tore down the YMCA, I ran to the streets, right? And there was 150 kids out there just hanging out with nothing to do. And I think what that fund do is put rowing in those cities or in those communities that need the sport, right? And help with the programs that already exist with better equipment, better coaches, academic support, and maybe like entrepreneurship program that's been so beneficial in our lives. And hopefully, man, the goal is really get kids in college, right? And to use the film, the story, to just inspire. You know, these guys went out there and they were just so honest. They were so open, and I think they understood that it's important for this generation to number one understand that it's okay to tell your story. It's okay to talk to someone about what you go through, and so that's what it's all about: the gift of storytelling, the gift of bringing stories to the world, and hopefully everyone will be inspired by it. You know, and it takes a lot, and I appreciate all of these guys, you know, and what they brought to the table. I mean, we had a good time, man, just growing up. And I mean, you go to a restaurant or you go to a city and you come back and you tell everybody, man, you gotta go there, you gotta try it out, right? It'd be selfish of us to not want to share the sport with other people, and you know, and so I think collectively. We came together to do that. And it takes a village to raise a child. We needed an alpart. We needed a Victor. We needed a Jessica. We needed a Eugene. We needed Victory Outreach. We needed a high school, right? And so that's what the story is. How do we get the village together to move forward and do the work, right? You can't, the biggest lesson I learned in rowing is that you can't do the work of 8 people, but you need 8 people to do the work and you'll get there much faster. So hopefully we can get everybody a part of this fun, or just do the work in their community, invite someone out to row and give opportunities to those who need it.
And Nancy had another question. Has your story inspired any other community stories to come forward and be told?
You know, I receive so many messages now that people are seeing our story, and they're actually coming. They'll call me or text or whatever, and they start talking about, you know, things that happened when they were growing up. So now people are really starting to open up more. And in the film, my sister said it has to be talked about in order to heal. Now, these people who never said anything, seeing me break down in tears, you know, seeing everyone's struggles. Now they're starting to talk to people and ask questions, and now they're starting to heal. So definitely.
I think Elliot got a story to tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it falls.
And I think too, it's just like everyone that, I mean, I think collectively we from the same neighborhood, but we're so different. The message I get is people who related to Alvin and was like, man, dude, like I know that life. And I also had a lot of white people who grew up very privileged, who was inspired by what Ken did. And it was like, oh, he did it. I have resources. I should do it, right? You know, and I think just like there's so many different stories from not only us, not only the coaches and mentors, but from our moms too. There's so many moms. It's just like, oh my God, like I love the mom story in this film. And yeah, so it's inspiring so many people to tell their story.
We look forward to
It's
more of
even
them.
changing a few people, like perspective. I received a phone call actually, and he started to talk about his past and his views of blacks and, you know, people from where we're from. And he started, when he said, man, because of the film, he's starting to think differently. I guess he was judged. I don't really know, but in so many words, he judged people because of where they came from, or whatever, where they were from. So he's starting to see things clearly now and differently.
One person at a time, I guess.
Ken, how's it sound? He's gone.
Oh, man.
I think he went under the tunnel or something. We have another question, Mona. Do you want to take that one?
Sure. It says, how'd you all get back to training regularly for the reunion race? I'm curious how you balance rowing training and other responsibilities. Look at the head. Oh my gosh, Al.
No, that training was good. You seen those bodies transfer so fast, like Malcolm. Malcolm went from the airplane scene where he said Mike Beatty to like that was a huge transformation, man. Like I even though like Alvin roasted us in the beginning, but I think the transformation for myself was it was insane. It was great, and it felt good. And we, just to have each other, and I think we definitely worked ourselves more than we would have because we understood that. Because we all have our personal life, our own business and stuff like that. But we understood that this not just for us, but we were kind of like doing this for the world in a way. So I think that kept us on track.
It was really difficult, for me especially. I was because I'm a mover, so I have to go. I move furniture all day, and in between I go sometimes do a 10,000 meter piece and pieces throughout the day. So I really worked to make sure I could get down the course, But it was rough. And then in between that, I had to have surgery. So that put me out for like nearly a month for no training. So man, it was rough getting back, but it worked out.
Well,
It's like we got Ken back.
Ken, how's your sound?
This sounds so much better.
You guys kicked me to the curb.
Oh, you kicked him out?
Oh, we hear him now. We hear you now.
I did not kick him out. I did not kick him out.
I'm trying to find out that I have you.
It's kind of, we have another question
But I've
from
been loving
Charlotte.
you guys.
What advice do you have for other young rowers and non-rowers of color? Yeah. What advice do you have for other young rowers and non-rowers of color?
I guess she means athletes in general, or
Athletes in
Stay
general.
focused.
People that don't row.
Definitely stay focused.
Stay
Well,
focused.
well, I think Malcolm would say drink pink coffee.
Get your phone.
Is
That beet juice?
No, I definitely tell them, man, it's more to, just basketball, baseball, and football, nothing against those sports, but, most of my opportunities came from rowing. Most of my, the knowledge of, that I apply to this day came from rowing. So, a lot of kids look at basketball and football and some of those sports that, might take them somewhere. But I think that if they just gave rowing a try, they would see that the opportunities that's there were a lot more opportunities in rowing than it was, basketball or football or baseball. So just give it a try, get out there, do the work, and, enjoy doing it. And, trust me, you definitely, rewards will follow.
Yeah, it's an addictive sport.
Yeah. And I also say put the time in. Not only, sometimes we spend so many hours beating on our body in the sport, but put a lot of time to train yourself mentally. That mental toughness is so important. That's you going on YouTube and listening to motivational speeches. There are many books out there on mental toughness. That's being open and honest about where you at with your coach, so he can give you the advice and the strength you need mentally to carry on. But make sure you put in the same amount of hours mentally to your training. I think that helps.
Completely agree.
well, let's do this again. Did you want to have any other? Did you have any other questions for them, Mona?
I don't have any other questions. I just wanted to thank you guys for sharing your story. I think with the rowing community and for us Black rowers who have not seen other folks like you in our narratives. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, and let's keep it going and make sure our kids and their friends all get out there and learn this beautiful sport.
And come to Boston and row.
Oh yeah.
Love to.
Yeah, we'll be
I'll be your two seat.
I'll show you how to get to the bridges on the Charles River.
Yeah, I mean, it's Charlotte. As long as you got those Celtics tickets, we'll be there.
Definitely.
I'll see what I can do.
That's what it takes. We can work that out.
I can get you a ticket to the head of the Charles.
The head of the Charles.
Yeah.
I think that's free, but okay.
Anyway, you have some famous people that you worked with. There, got a little slide up there, and also wanted to mention Mary Mazzio, who I met a couple of years ago.
Mary was great, man. Mary has been awesome through the whole film, man. She's just like she's a workhorse. I guarantee you, if we didn't have her as a director, we would have got away with a lot of stuff in practice. We would have been like, no, we only had to do it one time. We good. You know what I mean? If you didn't know rowing, we would have got away with a lot of stuff. She had us out there in the cold, 30-degree temperatures. Do it again. That's the only language I thought she knew. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
I heard she had Mike Tatey well in hand too.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really appreciate you guys coming on, and thanks again. Let's do it again.
Thank you so much.
I hope you can come
Thanks
back.
for having us.
Thank you guys for all showing up.
I'd like to just bring us out here with a nod to our sponsors, because we are really appreciate these people who keep us on the air, which are our sponsors. We have a sponsor this month, NK Speed Coach Summer Regatta series. You can race on the water, and your speed coach, you guys know what a speed coach is. It will feed the information up, and you can actually race with people, even though we can't do it at regattas this year. Rowing Chat is also putting together a program to help rowing retailers recover. So a lot of people are just devastated. Their businesses are devastated by the pandemic shutdown and the shutdown of the regattas. It's just really desperate need. So we're going to put together a retailers page. And if you have a suggestion, please email us via Rowing Chat. And we also have a survey. You can find that at rowing.chat/sponsors. You can connect with us on YouTube or Facebook. And we'd love to hear suggestions for episodes and guests that we should have on, especially now that we can't cover the regattas. We'd like to do some more explorations like we did today with the cast of the A Most Beautiful Thing movie. And I think that came along at a really good time because we're watching the movie and we can't row. But our hashtag is ReadyRowUSA. You can use the hashtag on social media and win gadgets and gear and services. We have a club news. If you have a rowing club that you'd like to give us the news about it, we will feature that every couple of months. We do a roundup of the club news. And we also have our gadgets and gear forum. I'm a kind of a gadget freak, so I started this little series on the podcast, and I just love to find new gadgets. So please send them along. We will feature them and maybe have you on to discuss what you like about them and how they help you rowing. Anyway, my company is Pierce Press. I'd like to announce that we won a Purple Dragonfly Award for our latest children's book, Who's Hiding in This Book? And it's also has a message of diversity. Our correspondent, Kimberly Reynolds, of Recovery on Water. She lives in Chicago, and she's kind of on break right now, but she's doing a lot of stuff for Recovery on Water, which is breast cancer survivor rowing organization. Charlotte Copp out at Station L, which is the coolest name for a rowing club. And she coaches at, Charlotte, where do you coach at? Pacific University, or I think maybe she might be gone. Anyway, it's really nice to have her with us. We have upcoming episodes on clubs, boat buying, Olympic previews and updates, and gadgets and gear, as I mentioned. And we are going to end the broadcast. Of course, we went late, but we are so happy to have you guys on. And thank you so much. I'm going to unmute you so that you can say goodbye. And thanks again.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again.
Take care.
Thanks for having us. We
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
let's do it
having me.
again. Bye.